Hey folks, this is Shetz, and one of the questions, how do we measure temperature? Well, there's actually 5 ways, but the most common ways you probably know is in the United States, we measure temperature in Fahrenheit. We go up to Canada, and we're going to measure that in Celsius, and then the whole world scientists will use Kelvin, and there are 3 ways. Now, the question I ask you is, how do we measure angles? And you already know that we measure angles in degrees in the United States. There we go. Had a little bit of trouble with that. And for all intents and purposes, there's another way, but, just think about it. When you go down south, don't you have to have a southern drawl? Yeah, y'all had a nice day today and get our pop. Well, guess what? Just like in the southern states, what we're going to do is whenever we're in France, we're going to measure it angles in radians. So there's 2 ways to measure an angle. In America, we use degrees, and then we're going to fly to France. We're going to take a lot of field trips this week, and we're going to go over to France and talk the Radian language. So you might be asking, yo, Shetz, I don't even know how to speak Radian language. Well, here you go. You see this orange radius right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this radius, and I'm going to bend it around the circle. Just like that. There's my radius. And guess what? That's going to be 1 radian right there. So let me grab the 1 here, put it right up. All right. And now I'm going to take this same radius and keep going all the way around the circle. And there you go. There's going to be 2 radians right there. A little bit over 90 degrees, quite a bit over. And I'm going to wrap that around again. Let me go back and get my 2 there. So there's the end of 2 radians. You need to know where each radian lies. Here's 3 radians right there. And all we're doing is taking that radius and wrapping it around the circle. You guys are learning to speak the French language of radian measure. You already know degrees. I trust you know that. Now we're going to get into the radian language. So there's 4 radians right there. Now we'll just do this a couple more times. We'll be done. There's 5 radians right there. Looks marvelous. And now we're going to wrap that around some more. There we go. We'll end up at 6 radians with a little bit left over. So you guys think about the question, that little white piece, right in this area, right here, we don't need our radius anymore. Let's get that out of there. But I want to know what that little bit is, that little white bit. So let's see, if I start at standard position and go all the way around the circle, guess what? I've gone how far? Well, what I just did was the circumference, and we know that the circumference of any circle is 2 pi r. Well, if this happens to be a unit circle, then I'm going to put a 1 right there in for a radius. And guess what? 2 times 1 gives us 2 pi radians. So right there, we have 2 pi radians once around the circle. So let me grab that. A complete circle is 6.28 radians. That's the approximate, and the exact measure we just said was 2 pi radians. So now if I take half of 2 pi, guess what? I'm going half a circle. And half of 2 pi would just simply be, let me move that guy over, half of 2 is 1 pi radians. And if I would take, now you guys also know that starting here, going there, that's 180 degrees. Well, 180 degrees divided by 3.14 is going to give us what 1 radian is. Right there, turns out to be 57.3 degrees. So every 1 radian is 57.3 degrees. Right there. And we said earlier that the radius was equal to 1 radian in distance. That was that yellow or the orange. Here's my orange radius right there. All right, folks, so that's what a radian is. And hopefully, you can tell me what this shaded part right here is. Just the white part. How many radians is that? And I'll give you a hint. If you look right here, there's 6, and you know what a complete circle is. So there you have it, folks. We'll talk more about radians.